What's going on, everyone? This is Eric with Sweet Spot DFS, going over a DraftKings first look for the 2026 Masters Tournament. I'll be going over every single golfer at their price point and basically talking about whether or not they're overvalued, undervalued, or right where they should be. Then I'm going to theory craft some lineups based off of those price points and the golfers that I like. But before I get into any of that, I just want to remind you guys, I like to do giveaways on this channel, especially during major time. And at the majors, I always run a win the pot giveaway. Now, I started the pot 2 weeks ago, asking each and every one of you guys to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because every one new subscriber adds $2 to the pot. And if you look all the way over there to the left, I've kind of timestamped when I started this win the pot giveaway. It started at 892 subscribers. We are currently at 910, meaning there are 18 new subscribers since I started this win the pot giveaway. And of course, that means if you do the math, 36 additional dollars have been added to the pot, bumping this up to $56 currently in the pot. Now, if you would like an entry into this giveaway, there are two things you can do for me. If you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. You have to be subscribed in order to win this giveaway. The second thing to do is to comment on any of the videos I post this week, including this one. So go down in the comment section, comment. If you need a topic, just give me your favorite golfer at their price point, and that's all you got to do. That way we can kind of, ignite the algorithm, get this out to more people, and maybe grow the pot even more. So those are the two ways to get an entry. Subscribe and then comment. And then Tuesday, April 7th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, I will be running this giveaway. I'll be going live, and then obviously I'll talk a little bit and then run the giveaway. So maybe it won't be exactly at 8 o'clock, but that's when you can expect me to go live and do the giveaway shortly after. So be there. Try to get as many entries as you possibly can by commenting on all the videos that I am posting from this Friday all the way to Tuesday. There should be one video per day that you can comment on. So go do that, help me out, and I will reward you guys. Now, not only do I do this Masters giveaway, I also do a weekly and a monthly giveaway. And it requires the exact same thing from you guys. Be subscribed and comment down below. That is how you get entries into any of my giveaways. Tuesday, I'll be giving away $5 for the weekly giveaway. The monthly giveaway won't happen until the beginning, the first Tuesday of the next month. So you don't really have to think about that. But every giveaway, or every entry, I should say, that you are earning for either the weekly giveaway or the Masters giveaway are going into the monthly giveaway. And that is a membership at sweetspotdfs.com. And if we can reach the goal, which we just did this last monthly giveaway, I'll also add a t-shirt to it. It ends up making it a $50 value because the monthly membership is a $20 value. So those are available to you guys to hopefully win. And one last giveaway reminder, I'm doing this $1,000 giveaway called the sweetspotdfs.com giveaway. In order to gain an entry to this one, all you got to do is create an account at sweetspotdfs.com. There's a link for that site down in the description. So yeah, all you got to do is click on it. And if you aren't already a member there, hit the little login button, create yourself a free account. You do not need to pay any money in order to enter this giveaway. But if you want to use the tools at sweetspotdfs.com, I would recommend signing up for at least the weekly giveaways so you can have all the tools for the Masters. But if you do the monthly giveaway, it will run all the way into the next major, which is the PGA Championship. So you will have 2 major championships that you can do research on using the tools at sweetspotdfs.com. Now, I will only run this giveaway once this channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. So again, all I'm doing is just trying to push more and more people into becoming subscribers to the channel. And that way, again, I reward you guys for rewarding me. So be subscribed, go create an account at sweetspotdfs.com, and that's it. That's all the giveaways I have for you. So let's go ahead. Let's get right into this DraftKings first look and start at the top of the board, which is Scottie Scheffler. Scottie Scheffler is at $14,000. If you have watched any of my videos and taught, as I speak about Scottie Scheffler every single week, or if I speak about salaries every single week, Scottie Scheffler has kind of altered how DraftKings creates salaries. Because he is so popular, because he's so good, I should say. That's the number one thing. Because he's so good, but also because he's so popular, price tag for him has been $14,000 every single tournament he has played in 2026. Now, the effect of that is other golfers on the PGA Tour that are in these fields that Scottie Scheffler is end up going down in price. And for the previous week, the Valero Texas Open, you saw that there were only 2 golfers that were in the 10K range. Now, DraftKings in the past has always had at least 4 to 5 golfers in the 10K range, especially for a major championship like this one. A lot of times they'll have 5 to 6 in the 10K range for the majors, kind of just creating a little bit more of a, I would actually say, a skill separation, because you have to choose the right golfer up top. You typically can't put, 2 10K golfers in a lineup together and make a good lineup or a GPP winning lineup. Scheffler at $14,000, we have seen that he has been a part of the GPP winning lineup several times in the past, including at other major championships, being at this price tag, or even being like $13,600. The $400 difference there isn't that big of a deal. And you can create, if you put him in a lineup, your average remaining salary gets to $7,200. But if you were to scroll down into the 6K range, you will find decent selections down here that you can add to your list. I mean, I think the first golfer I would say is like Carlos Ortiz. When you do that, it bumps it up just a little bit. And I'll say this, if you really want to take a look at how to build Scheffler lineups this week, watch my Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineup video that I will be putting out there in the future. Because that's where I'll actually be going through each of the different types of lineups you can build with Scottie, especially the effective ones that we have seen being the optimal lineup or the GPP winning lineup. You will see those types of salary builds using a Scheffler at $14,000. Now, there is a bit of, if you've been paying attention to anything this year with the PGA Tour, Scheffler won the first event he played in. And then after that, for whatever reason, he wasn't showing up on Thursdays. The first round of the tournament, he would shoot like 1 or 2 over, and then for the remaining 3 rounds of golf, basically beat everybody in the field except for, he would beat everyone in the field for those 3 rounds. But of course, then he wouldn't win the tournament. He would finish, somewhere inside the top 10, only being a couple shots away from the winner. Which the joke was, Scheffler gives people a little bit of a head start and then catches them later. Obviously, he didn't win those events. And some of those events, he was a part of the GPP winning lineup still. He was also a part of the optimal lineup. So Scheffler doesn't have to win at $14,000. Some people are going to say he has to at that price tag. He does not. Because again, watch any of the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineup videos that I've ever created, or any of the live videos that I've done strategies on. We talk about this in depth. I go over this a lot. And again, I will be doing that for the Masters here, for the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineup. So if you want to see proof that Scheffler at $14,000 doesn't have to win an event, I will give you that proof. As for, I should say a little bit more about Scheffler. There has been speculation that his poor performances over the last 2 months, any of the events after his win at the American Express are due to his wife being pregnant. I think we kind of laid that to rest. Everybody's been talking about it. Even the broadcast has been talking about it now. So now we know that Meredith, Scottie's wife, has been expecting a baby soon. Now, he withdrew from the Houston Open, which was 2 weeks ago, with no reason given. And nobody really knows, but the speculation is that Meredith was having their second child. If that baby has been born, which I assume it has been, I feel like there's going to be, well, this is speculation. We have seen baby swag in the past, meaning once a golfer has had a baby or his wife has had a baby, he comes into the next event playing really good golf. Whether or not you believe in that, that's up to you. I don't have an issue thinking that way. Scheffler's the best golfer in the world. You know, this is Scottie's tour, basically. So why wouldn't we give him that respect? Part of it has to do with just poor performances recently. But again, this is the best golfer in the world. And nobody on the PGA Tour, if you listen to some of the, you know, most recent PGA Tour golfer, you know, press conferences or interviews that talk about Scottie Scheffler, nobody thinks Scottie's not going to get back to where he ever has been. It just, there's a little bit of a lull right now. So kind of spent a little bit more time on Scheffler than I cared to, but I think if you wanted to play him at $14,000, there's no issue this week, especially building a lineup and doing, you know, I don't have an issue at 14,000 going with Scottie. The only issue I have is he going to be a little rusty? How much is this going to, you know, the birth of his new kid going to affect his mental state, his physical state? Is he going to be tired? You just never know. You never know. But I think it's okay to get back to Scheffler. This is the Masters. He's really good at this tournament. Like, we can expect him to turn it around. Rory McIlroy, the other golfer to talk about here, that's over $10,000. Rory withdrew a few weeks ago because of a back injury. Let's see. I forget. I think. Yeah. So he missed the cut at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and then finished 46th at the Players Championship defending his title. He didn't really have a good Thursday, Friday. If I were to guess, he actually made the cut on the number. Maybe not. I can't remember what the cut at the Players was, but you know, 46th place at the Players Championship, not super great. He has had a few weeks to recover, to rest his back. Do we think at $11,600 he's going to come back and defend his title at the Masters tournament? I feel less confident in Rory than I do in Scottie. It's really up to you guys. $11,600. If you remember, the average remaining salary was like $7,200 with Scheffler. If you started a lineup with him, it's $76 with Rory. One of the main arguments that I would say go with Rory over Scottie is similar skill levels, but obviously Rory's $2,400 cheaper. And it really gives you the ability to maybe start a lineup with Rory into Xander. In fact, if you were kind of doing that substitution game that people like to play, putting Xander in my lineup with Rory gives me the average remaining salary of $7,200. That's exactly what it was if you were just to play Scheffler. $7,200. So whatever that substitution game you want to play is, the remaining 5 golfers that you put with Scottie, any 5 of them, are they going to be better? You know, if you build a Scottie lineup, are they going to be better than starting your lineups with Rory and Xander? Probably not, right? Probably not. So when it comes to ownership, and if you're playing the game theory angle, do we think more people start with Scheffler, or do we think more people are going to start with a lineup like this? I think there's actually going to be a more popular combo that's going to happen here, and I'll show you that a little bit. I mean, it's not that far away. But, you know, starting your lineups with Rory gives you a bit more forgiveness, a little bit more optionality with building lineups. And I think it's probably the better way to go. I have tried to build some Scheffler lineups. They're not as easy as you can build Rory lineups. So that would be the argument I would give for Rory. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not not too keen on playing Rory this week. I did say I'll show you a different combo. I actually think this is one and the same. Bryson DeChambeau and Jon Rahm are the hottest golfers on LIV currently. You know, the last event I saw, I think it's the last event that LIV had, these two golfers were in a playoff on LIV. Bryson hit a remarkable 3-wood from like 300 yards to put it on the green and have himself an eagle putt, where Rahm found the fairway, and then I think he mishit his 3-wood. That, or I don't know, maybe it was just a little too far out of his reach. Bryson ended up winning. I think Bryson is on they're not showing the game log on DraftKings. I think he's won 2 events in a row. Yeah, they're not showing. Come on, DraftKings, what the heck? Oh, maybe, I have no idea. Maybe they're not doing live events anymore on DraftKings. Anyways, Bryson has won the last 2 events that he's played in. Rahm, actually, if you take a look at his OWGR or not OWGR, if you look at his strokes gained stats on Data Golf put it all together, and based off of the adjustments they've made, Rahm over the last 3 months, 4 months, has played better golf than anybody else in the world, including Bryson. You know, Bryson might have 2 wins in a row, but Rahm has been playing the best golf, which would make sense if Bryson had a 10th place or a 15th place finish somewhere down the road. And all Rahm did was just have top 5s, including that tie for first with Bryson. If you know how strokes gained stats work, that tie means they gain the same amount of strokes gained total despite DeChambeau winning it. Doesn't give him more stats or better stats than Rahm. No, they tied at the end of regulation as how strokes gained stats are calculated. They don't incorporate the playoff hole. They don't. It's for the 72 holes that they played. So Rahm has better strokes gained stats than Bryson. And I believe Rahm is just a little bit over Scheffler. And I want to say there's maybe one more golfer than it's Bryson when it comes to these strokes gained stats over the last, I think it's the last 4 months. It could be even the last 6 months. As to strokes gained stats in the world gained. And again, Rahm is number 1, then it's Scottie. And I can't remember if then it's Bryson or maybe it's Rory or whoever else it might be, or Gotterup. I mean, Gotterup's been playing some really good golf too. I'm not sure. I don't remember, but these 2 golfers that I have highlighted, Bryson and Jon Rahm, great selections. They've also played well at the Masters before. Rahm has won this event before. Bryson he's chasing, and he's had good finishes at the Masters in the past. So I don't see why Bryson can't play, good at the Masters. And at 10,200, like if I take any of these golfers out, look at this, $7,900 you have left over. I said I'll get to, I think, the most popular combo. The most popular combo, I think, is going to be Jon Rahm and Xander Schaffele, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bryson was second. Now, if you follow this channel in the past, I like to say start your lineups with a 10K golfer, a 9K golfer, an 8, 2 7s, and a 6K golfer, or the common jingle is a 10-9-8, 7-7-6. Well, if you start with Bryson or you start with Rahm, it gets pretty easy, especially if you wanted to pick another hot golfer on tour right now. You could go something like this, maybe drop down into some 7K golfers. Corey Connors has played well here before. We can even drop down to even Adam Scott. I know Adam Scott will be somewhat popular. And the golfer that I had mentioned with Scottie Scheffler was Carlos Ortiz. You could build a lineup like this or any of these other guys down in the 6K range that might, pique your interest. 10-9-8, 7-7-6. It makes an easy lineup build. I mean, if you substitute out Bryson and we actually put in Rahm instead of Bryson, we actually don't really have to go down to Carlos at 6,600. We have a few more options. Now, you see all these out symbols? This is before the week of the Masters. These out symbols will disappear. Don't be afraid of this. If there's an out symbol next to a golfer's name on a Wednesday, before lineup lock, that's where you have to be concerned. But for these golfers, you don't really have to be. But this opens up some optionality with these other golfers. You got Kitayama, Gerard, Rye, Niergaard, Peterson, Kiefer. Maybe you like these guys, maybe you don't. Maybe this still lends out, Carlos Ortiz being your man down in the 6K range. That's fine. The fact is, Rahm and Bryson give you a lineup that looks like this. And in fact, you don't even have to go with Corey Connors. If you wanted to just do all 7Ks, you have that optionality to do something like that. Like Bridgeman and Gotterup might be the hottest golfers on the PGA Tour right now. Bridgeman has several good finishes that you can actually, look at this. Look at this. Going all the way back to the Sony Open down here. January 15th, he finished 4th. He doesn't have a finish worse than 18th, and he won the Genesis Invitational. The guy is I would say him and Gotterup. Gotterup has won twice on tour this year. Yeah, those guys are definitely worthwhile picks. Now, if you went with Bridgman instead of Corey Connors, you don't actually have to go down to Carlos Ortiz. You have a few more options here. Ryan Fox, Wyndham Clark, Sergio, old people. Well, he is kind of old now. More veteran golfers at the Masters, especially past champions, tend to play the Masters really well. So you could go with someone like a Sergio if you wanted to. Even a Dustin Johnson, although we don't really know if the guy really cares about golf anymore. But you've got Keegan Bradley, Alex Noren, Tom McKibben, Rasmus Højgaard, Harry Hall. Those are all options outside of the ones I have already mentioned. If you were to start with a Rahm, Xander, even a Fitzpatrick lineup, you certainly could go this route. So Rahm and Bryson, I wouldn't be surprised if they're the most owned golfers in that 10K and above range, only because they provide so much more salary relief. They give you more options to build lineups around. I kind of gave you the most expensive 9K golfer, one of the most expensive 8K golfers, and we still could round that out with 3 7Ks if we wanted to. So all of that is available, starting with Rahm and Bryson, and that makes things super easy to build lineups around. Now, I am creating this video before the conclusion of the Valero Texas Open. In fact, it hasn't even started the second round for the AM/PM wave. So this is after Ludvig got to 10 under. He's trailing Robert MacIntyre, by 4 shots, but both of those golfers look really good. Ludvig looks really good, and he has a really good history at the Masters tournament. So I have no issue at all going to Ludvig. And one argument that I could make that goes outside of performance evaluation would be that the Scottie effect on salaries has actually lent itself to more successful builds starting in the 9K range. Like, yeah, there are 4 10K golfers this week, but I would imagine when I go over the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups, I will show you that we tend to see more than 4 10K golfers in this event. We see somewhere around 6. And in the past, 10Ks probably were a bit more successful at this event because there are more golfers. And remember, salaries on DraftKings are a power ranking. So these are the best golfers in the field to select from, these higher priced golfers. But since the Scottie effect took hold, more so this 2026 seasons and some of the major championships and signature events in 2025, a lot of lineups now successful lineups start in the 9K range. The new jingle that I've created, remember I just said it was the 10-9-8-7-7-6. Well, now it's the 9+, meaning anything 9K and above. The 9+, 9-8-7-7-6. That's kind of the new successful salary format. And heck, Ludvig wouldn't be a bad choice to start your lineups with. Like I said, that little last piece, if you don't take performance evaluation into it, and we just look at what salary builds have been successful. Starting in the 9K range has been more successful this year than starting in the 10K range. So another good reason to want to start to build your line, or to want to build your lineups around Ludvig Aberg. But also, the guy's been turning it on. At the beginning of the season, kind of was very reminiscent of last year, where he started with a withdrawal, or had a withdrawal in one of his first 2 events. That also happened this year. Sickness tends to happen with him like early on in the season, and then he just turns it on. And again, this is before the conclusion of the Valero Texas Open. This guy might have won that event. He might have finished inside the top 10, top 5, whatever. It looked good today. Let's just put it that way. And it looked good yesterday. So Ludvig, got no issue playing him. We kind of already touched on Xander. You could start your lineups here also. I think this is going to also be another popular salary, or a popular combo, would be starting with Xander and probably going to Cam Young. Cam Young is, he's been playing such good golf, and he just won the Players Championship. Yeah, he's got a T7 at the Genesis, a T3 at the Arnold Palmer, and a T1. The last 3 events that he's played in, the last 3 signature events, the best golfers in the world, he has been playing some really good golf, and his shot shape is absolutely perfect for the Masters. I'll talk more about that probably during my preview video that I'll be doing with Byron on Sunday night. But yeah, I think this might be the most popular combo now that I really think about it. I feel like people are going to want to play Rahm or DeChambeau to go with Xander, but maybe if it's not DeChambeau, Rahm, and then Xander, it'll be DeChambeau or Rahm and then Cam Young. That might be the most common lineup build, but I'll talk about Cam Young here a little bit. We kind of already did. Xander's been playing some good golf also. Just throwing that out there. A T3 at the Players and a T4 at Valspar. He kind of started the year out a little shaky. He won at the Bay Current, which was in the fall. But yeah, we could say that he started out just a little shaky. It's kind of weird. Now that I look at this, look at that. It goes from 717 to 129. January 29th. Goes from July to he's played other events in between. I don't know what DraftKings is doing. That's so weird. So weird. You can use sweetspotdfs.com or watch some of my other videos. We'll go over more about these golfers and their past performances. You will see what Xander has done leading up. But he did kind of start out a little rusty, a little shaky. He was dealing with I think it was a surgery. I don't really remember what it was for or what the purpose of the surgery was, other than, to fix something that was nagging. But yeah, he started out a little rusty, but he's turned it on since. We've got a lot of good 9K options right now of golfers that have been really, really hot. Again, the Scottie effect lends the start out with the lineup in the 9K range. So Xander's a really good choice. Morikawa is a bit more troubling. He just withdrew from the Valero Texas Open because of a back injury. That same back injury is that started at the Players Championship. He played 1 hole at the Players, and this is spited many people or made a lot of people angry. He played 1 hole and then withdrew. I think he was the most popular golfer at the Players Championship, and for good reason. He'd won Pebble Beach in very windy conditions, then finished T7 at Genesis and T5 at Arnold Palmer. Collin Morikawa was getting back to his old ways of golf, being the best ball striker on tour, being the best iron player, I should say, on tour. And it was very, I want to say prevalent. That doesn't seem like the right word, but it was, he has gotten back. Let's put, just to go back to words I've already used. He has gotten back to his old self, being a really good iron player. And if it wasn't for the back injury, I would have loved to have seen what he did at the Valero Texas Open, but also the fact that he withdrew there. You're going to hear this throughout all the podcasts. It is a red flag. It is. And then I know there's a lot of people that come to my live streams who have just been marred with withdraws in their lineups. I know a particular person in specific who just every single week he's had a golfer who has withdrawn in his lineups. Now, this offers one of two things for you guys. Take on the risk, where I think Collin will probably be very low owned because there's going to be a lot of people that have been spurned by Collin Morikawa. Or you just fade him completely. You know, if he withdrew from the Valero Texas Open, that means there's still some uncertainty that comes with his back. And if it isn't a wrist, I mean, a back injury in golf is one of the worst injuries to have. Second place would probably be your wrist. So Morikawa having back injuries or a back issue, not great, not great. So maybe pay attention to some press conferences, some interviews that Collin might be in. Try to, weigh it out. If you want to play the game theory angle, Morikawa might be the perfect golfer to start with. He can even be your second golfer in, and it would be fine. If you want to start your lineups with like DeChambeau and Rahm, or even like Aberg, Xander, remember the 9+9, that would work. You could have those two 9K golfers, or any two 9K golfers, including Morikawa, and be just fine. Moving on from Morikawa, Fleetwood. Fleetwood is also playing the Valero Texas Open and has been playing and is playing pretty well. His second round had just started before I created this video or went to create this video, so I have no idea how he's currently doing, but the game looks good. The game looks good. He's got a new sponsor, which is crazy to see, but yeah, Fleetwood looks good. He's a solid option, and really his game, I think, fits well at the Masters. You're going to hear that from a lot of people in their podcasts. $9,300 is such a great salary, just have something like that. If you really wanted to, if you started with 3 9Ks, including Tommy Fleetwood, look at this. These 3 9Ks actually leave you with an average remaining salary greater than just starting your lineup with Scheffler, or starting your lineup with, Rahm and Xander, or DeChambeau and Xander. So this is where that substitution kind of comes into play. Scheffler and the other 5 golfers that he has, can you pick out 2 of them, or maybe the 2? Yeah, pick out your 2 best ones from there. Are they better than Fleetwood and Cam Young? Or are they actually, if you start with Scheffler, you got to use 3 golfers. It would be Scheffler and never mind. It'd be Scheffler and 2 of your best golfers. Are those 3 better than Fleetwood, Xander, and Cam Young? Answer's probably no, right? I mean, I didn't see anybody in that 7K range outside of Adam Scott that I really liked. I mean, I guess you could go Scheffler, Adam Scott, and Jacob Bridgeman, or Scheffler, Bridgeman, and some other, low 7K golfer. Are they better than Fleetwood, Xander, Cam Young? In recent form terms, no. So why wouldn't you start your lineups this way? And then you can even grab those 2 golfers, the 2 best golfers that you can in a Scottie lineup, and put them right here. So a lineup started this way that includes Tommy Fleetwood looks pretty darn good. Even if you wanted to start with Fleetwood, you've got some other options, including another golfer to bring up that actually left the LIV Tour that was playing some pretty darn good golf out in other tours. So we'll actually bring that up, but that gives you even more salary relief. Tommy Fleetwood is a good price. I expect him to be somewhat high owned. Maybe like the 7th, the 6th, maybe even the 5th most owned golfer, and that's fine. You can win a GPP that way. Moving on from Fleetwood, I've already mentioned Cam Young a ton of times. Cam Young, hottest golfer on the tour right now. Just won the Players Championship. Why not play Cam Young? $9,200 is, I wouldn't say criminal, but I understand where he's priced considering the other golfers that are ahead of him. It's just at $9,200 that offers a lot of salary relief. I can see a lot of lineups having Cam Young in it, if not even starting with him. So yeah, I got no issue playing Cam Young. Again, I've already mentioned him in several other scenarios. Justin Rose. Personally, $9,100. I get it. Old guy, plays well at the Masters. I'm just not going to get there. I'm not going to go there. $9,100 is too expensive for me. I think that's an overvalue. Yeah, he's looked great, but then he also has two missed cuts at limited field events. Normally these events have somewhere from 80 golfers or just a little bit lower than that. And it is top 55 in tie or top 50 in ties and anybody within 10 shots of the lead. And he missed the cut twice at Genesis and at Arnold Palmer. Now at the Players, this looks great. That does look good. You know, this type of scoring profile actually works really well at the Masters, which again, he has played well at in the past. I don't care. $9,100 is too expensive. I also wouldn't even play him at $8,800. He'd have to be like 84 or cheaper for me to be like, oh yeah, no, I'll play him. Seems like a good value at that price. This does not. I don't. If you want to be contrarian, maybe that's where you go. Or maybe I guess I don't know how the quote unquote fish would actually consider Justin Rose in this type of situation, but it's not for me. Not for me at 9,100. Patrick Reed, again, like I was saying, he went over, I think it was on the Asian Tour and won 2 events. Yeah, this goes back to November. So that's unfortunate that we can't see anything more recent, but he won 2 events in a row. Patrick Reed, with that type of recent, and he's trying to get back on the PGA Tour, by the way. He won't be able to get back on the tour until I think September or October. So he's doing everything in his power to get back to the tour. And I guess I don't remember all the stipulations that come with it. Either way, he's going to be reunited with a lot of the PGA Tour golfers. I'm not saying that matters that much because generally Patrick Reed isn't a very well-liked guy. But I imagine there are going to be some people that are going to, go up, shake his hand, say, hey, it's nice to see you again, all that good stuff. Patrick Reed seems to be back in a happy place for himself. We just don't know what kind of game he's bringing into the Masters because his 2 wins, I think, happened in January. It was early in the year. So, again, no idea where he is, but he is a horses for the courses type of golfer. His course history here is pretty good. He's obviously won a Masters tournament in the past, and I can't see why he wouldn't play well. He's got a great short game. He's very savvy, very smart when it comes to playing on any of the golf courses. He's going to stretch it out, or he's going to take advantage to everything he possibly can, which might be even, sweeping back some sand in the bunker in order to make an easier bunker shot. But yeah, I know that was a little low blow. Either way, I do like Patrick Reed this week. Moving on from Reed, we get Matsuyama. Now, Matsuyama has played some really good golf. He had a chance to win the WM Phoenix Open, but, the driver is just not super great, and it ended up hurting him on that very first playoff hole, where then Chris Gotterup ended up beating him. It was a great performance at the WM Phoenix Open. Even that last day where, the driver was a little shaky towards the end, he still shot really good at the WM Phoenix Open. Went on to finish 8th at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and then has, made cuts unlike Justin Rose. So $8,900, Hideki is a past champion. He won in the springtime. That following Masters from the November Masters, which Dustin Johnson had won. He ended up winning that one. Hideki won that spring one after Dustin. So, hey, he's played the Masters very well in the past. He's coming in with some decent recent form. So I've got no issue playing Matsuyama at $8,900. I think that's a good price tag. I would have, if you were to ask me what I think his price tag should be before salaries came out for DraftKings, I would have said $8,800 basically. So yeah, I think that's a very fair price tag for Matsuyama. If you want to play him, go for it. Next golfer is Viktor Hovland. Viktor Hovland has very streaky performances in the 2026 calendar year. The one thing to remember with Viktor Hovland, this guy scores birdies in bunches, even on hard golf courses. A lot of times, like a lot of these finishes, even like 41st place, he might be the 20th best DraftKings scorer. He actually could be the 16th or better DraftKings point scorer in a tournament like this because he makes a lot of birdies. I mean, I guess not that tournament was 13, but yeah, he's very aggressive when it comes to playing golf. And when he's on, he is firing at pins. He's firing at hard hole locations, and he's succeeding far more than he is failing at. The one thing, though, is Hovland's game that good right now? And I would say no, but he will always be an option, in my opinion, because of how well he can score when no one else can score well at all. Be prepared to have bogeys with birdies. Like his scorecard might be he will have less pars than he will have birdies and bogeys. But in DraftKings, that is a perfect golfer to put in your lineup. You just might be pulling your hair out frequently when it comes to watching him play. But yeah, I got no issue going with Viktor Hovland. Matt Fitzpatrick is the next golfer, and he's been extremely hot. Like Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Chris Gotterup, Jacob Bridgeman, those 4 golfers are probably playing the best golf in the 2026 calendar year. I have no issue. Like this is actually kind of a discount. I mentioned Fitzpatrick in a lineup that started with, Rahm or DeChambeau along with Xander to do that 10-9-8-7-7-6 lineup build. Well, if you wanted to do a 9+9, so like Xander into Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, this will leave you $7,500. Starting a lineup like this, I think a lot of people are probably going to. I think Matt Fitzpatrick will be pretty highly owned, and for good reason. He plays the Masters pretty well, and he's been playing some really good golf as of late. So yeah, I don't even know if I think for the rest of these golfers going down, I'm just going to say if they're good value or not. Matt Fitzpatrick, one of the hottest golfers on tour. I got no issue playing Fitzpatrick at $8,700. That seems like a discount, to be quite honest with you guys. Bobby Mack. Robert MacIntyre is currently leading the Valero Texas Open. Again, no idea how that tournament is finished because I'm recording this on the Friday of that event, round 2. $8,600. A lefty at Augusta. Seems like a good formula to have. I was trying to think of a chemistry term. A good concoction. I don't know. But yeah, good golf coming in. Lefty at the Masters, which might be a bit overblown to use that. But I mean, the previous event that he had played at, a T4 at the Players, and now he's leading the Valero Texas Open. He might even win it. That's some really good form coming into the Masters. And I think one of those trends that you're going to hear a lot is you want a golfer who has won in a tournament prior to the Masters. Like those are candidates for winners at the Masters. And honestly, hey, the guy coming in with the most recent win, I think is going to be very dangerous. Brooks Koepka has been playing a lot of decent golf. He had a good stretch in Florida. He finished 9th at Cognizant, 13th at the Players, and then 18th at Valspar. But when going to a bomber track, the Texas Children's Houston Open, shot a 75 in round 1, which is just not going to get it done. I think the cut at that event was like -3, -4, something like that. He didn't even sniff it. He was even par for the tournament. There's a lot of things that the positives to think about with Brooks. Ball striking has been tremendous. Putting has been awful. So when you get to the Masters, a lot of times putting leading into the Masters won't matter because the Masters greens are going to be different. They're going to be like nothing else that they've seen on tour up to that date. They're very undulating. They're very fast on a lot of the downhills. They get to like a 15 on the stimp meter. That's a lot of defensive putting. And Brooks is very good at defensive putting. I think that's why he's always been good in the major championships, is because of defensive putting. I think that's how he actually reads putts, is more on the defensive part of it. His stroke really hasn't looked that bad. There's been some bad strokes he's put on a lot of it, or on a few of his golf balls, but so too has everybody else on the PGA Tour. We are just putting a magnifying glass, because when you look at his strokes gained putting stats, which, you know, a lot of the data nerds on this platform do, you're going to see it's really bad. I don't care. You shouldn't care. If you want to look more into this with me, I will be doing a deep dive in my strategy video, or the strategy live stream Tuesday night. We will go into Brooks Koepka. And we will look, I guess we don't really have to look at Brooks. We'll look at previous top 10 leaderboards at the Masters and look at their lead-in information. By the way, you don't get that anywhere else. On YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get your golf information from, you won't get what captured lead-in stats look like except for on this channel. So that's what I'll be going over. I'll be going over the lead-in information for the previous. We can look at as many Masters tournaments as we want to. We can go all the way back to 2013 and look at all the lead-in information, including strokes gained stats. Well, strokes gained stats probably goes back to 2018, but yeah, we can look at each of those events and just see if golfers coming in with bad putting stats, does it really matter? You'll find that out Tuesday night. And I'm going to guess it doesn't matter. So yeah, Brooks Koepka, I think, is fine at $8,500. He's played the Masters tournament good, has played it well in the past. Jordan Spieth. This is a perfect price tag for Jordan Spieth. We'll see what he does at the Valero Texas Open. I think he's going to make the cut right on the number. A lot of decent finishes, 12th, 11th, 32nd, and 11th. You know, for a golfer that's been kind of battling a wrist injury as of late, or I guess since last year, and now is kind of gotten over that. These are pretty good signals heading into the Masters. I've got no issue playing Jordan Spieth. Justin Thomas, coming from a back surgery, finished 8th at the Players. By the way, this was brutal. 79-79, 14 over par. This was his first event back from his back surgery. Well, what did he do with the following week? He finished top 10 at one of the harder tracks on the PGA Tour. Top 10. Yeah, he figured things out, especially following that with a T30. T30 is not great. I would have anticipated he would have just barely made the cut, and at best he would have finished 30th at the Players Championship. Instead, he went and finished 8th. This tells me he's definitely good enough. He has a few weeks of rest and recovery. Justin Thomas is very live at the Masters tournament. Very live. $8,300. Woo! That is a good price to put into your lineups. Shane Lowry, yeah, he should be around this price. Anywhere between $7,800 to $8,400 is a good place to put him. I honestly don't have any feels, any telltale signals that I can actually use with Shane Lowry. I don't really care to play him at the Masters, but if you want to, it's not a bad price. Tyrrell Hatton, I really have no idea how this guy's been playing on the Live Tour, and we're not going to get any information from DraftKings. I will say he has played the Masters tournament well in the past, and at $8,100 seems like a pretty good relief for lineups that you want to build. If you want to start your lineups with a 10, 9, 8, 7, 7, 6, $8,100 is a pretty good price tag to put in that 8K slot. Or even if you want to do a 9, 9, 8, again, the same thing applies. Or if you wanted to pepper the 8K range, you certainly can do that with some like Tyrrell Hatton, and he's a good choice. He's always played, I shouldn't say he's always played the Masters well, but he is a golfer that I would say plays the Masters well. Chris Gotterup, I've mentioned him a few times when it comes to the other golfers. This is one of the hottest golfers on tour. He has a win at Sony that happened in January. You can see he won also in July from the previous year, but we don't really have to care about mentioning that. Again, I don't understand what happened to this chunk of PGA Tour finishes between July and the start of the new year. I don't get it. But yeah, he has won at Sony, T18 at Farmers, and then won at the WM Phoenix Open. And that is with a 64 on the last day. The guy shoots really good Sunday scores, even a 65 at the Houston Open. Yeah, there's some shaky finishes, I guess you could say, in between the two signature events. AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, Genesis Invitational, not super great finishes there. But then, 18th at API, that's okay. 56th at the Players, not super great. That is a 78 in round 4, by the way. There was a video, I think, posted on YouTube by the PGA Tour called The Hard Knocks of Golf, and he was one of the golfers they followed for this Players Championship. He did talk a lot about his game and just where it was. Just he wasn't feeling it. Like there was something going on where he was struggling the entire time. He just barely made the cut. And then, go watch the video and just see what he had to say. He was very excited to get back to the Texas Children's Houston Open, and he proved why. Finished 6th. So the one knock I will say about Chris Gotterup is he predominantly hits a fade, but you have seen him hit draws with other clubs outside of his driver. The Masters allows you to hit 3-wood, especially like on hole 13, the biggest dog leg left there is on that course. Lots of golfers hit a 3-wood to shape it around the corner. Chris Gotterup can hit draws. He predominantly hits fades, but he can hit draws. So I don't really have an issue with him at a lot of the golf or a lot of the holes at Augusta. But I will say it's not going to fit his sight lines. Off the tee, a lot of holes you do want to hit draws on. Go take a look at Pat Mayo's interview with Michael Kim, and Michael Kim kind of does a hole by hole breakdown for Pat, talking about how hitting a draw on this hole is very advantageous. But I'm not going to completely rule out Chris Gotterup. $8,000 is a very good price tag for a very good golfer, especially one of the hottest golfers on the tour this year. So yeah, no issues there. I think Sepp Straka is just barely making the cut at the Valero Texas Open. Actually, no. I think he just missed it. He double bogeyed the second to last hole, which was a par 5. I don't remember how he did it. Actually, I don't even know if I know how he did it, but yeah, it was bad. So I think he's going to miss the cut at the Valero Texas Open. I would say this. I anticipated him winning the Valero Texas Open. He was my one and done pick. I'm going to get burned by that. Because he was coming into that event with a 13th place finish at API and an 8th place finish at the Players. Sometimes what happens the week before the Masters, and we've heard this from Phil Mickelson in the past, is that event right before the Masters is just to try some things out. See if you can hit certain shots, and if you execute, then you're going to obviously play well. If you don't execute, then you'll miss the cut. And we saw that from Phil numerous times at the Houston. The Houston Open used to be the tournament prior to the Masters tournament. Now we have the Valero Texas Open. So who knows? A lot of times you don't really have to worry about that. And if we go over the bucket system, you will find out that missed cuts the week before, not a terrible thing to have. So I probably won't care if he misses the Valero Texas Open, but it was not as sharp as I anticipated it being. So I guess I'm a little iffy. $8,000 is a good price tag. In fact, I think anybody that's going to be from this $7,700 price tag and up, a lot of these golfers are fair value. Patrick Cantlay at $7,900 hasn't really been playing the greatest golf this 2026 calendar season, especially not to standards that we've placed on him in the past. But at $7,900, he's a decent golfer. Russell Henley, I actually don't know if he's going to make the cut. Last time I looked, he was -2, and he was the PM AM. I don't know if he kept his -2 score. If he did, he'll probably make the cut at the Valero Texas Open. But, for a golfer that, I don't know, it's very streaky with Russell Henley. These finishes are great. 19th, 8th, 19th. Missed cut at Genesis, that's not great. I mean, a 76 opening score and then followed by 68. That 68's good. T6 at API, that I think he was the defending champion of. And then a 13th place finish at the Players Championship. Yeah. $7,900. Fair price. Akshay Bhatia, lefty who hits cuts. That's the same as being a righty who hits draws. And a cut is much easier to control than a draw. So just out of the gate, he kind of has an advantage with his shot shape and the type of game that he plays. He just won API and he finished 13th at the Players. Like, the guy's a baller. $7,800. Pretty darn good. $78, Siwoo Kim. Siwoo Kim plays the Masters, I would say above average. And at $7,800, that's above average salary tag. I have no issue playing Siwoo Kim at that price. I will make sure I get some lineups of him in it, in my Masters lineups, in case, the optimizer that I use does not like Siwoo. I'll force it to like Siwoo. Minwoo Lee has been playing some really good golf as of late. He defended his title pretty well, finished 3rd at the Houston Open, finished 32nd at the Players, and 6th at the API. I mean, he also has a 2nd place finish at Pebble Beach. Like, he's been playing some really good golf leading into this event. The big knock on him is just accuracy off of the tee. He's put a mini driver in his bag, and if you don't know what a mini driver is, it's basically the old drivers from the 90s. Like, that's all it is. It's just a small head that is optimized to either hit off the tee or even hit off the ground. All it is a smaller headed driver. That's all. It can play as a 3-wood plus, or it could play as a 3-wood. But yeah, since going to that club, the guy's been very accurate off of the tee. So Minwoo's not a bad player to select at this event. He's an Aussie. Aussies play well here. The only reason to say that is the summertime in Australia usually happens, I think, January, February. And this obviously is a couple months past that, but it's still prime golfing season for Australians. You can use that with however you want, or you can ignore it. Does not matter. Does not matter to me. $7,800 is a good price for Minwoo. Let's just go kind of rapid fire here. Corey Connors, he skipped out on the Valero Texas Open for whatever reason. He's always played that event well. He always plays the Masters well. He's got the shot shape for this. I think he's a good choice. Ben Griffin at $7,600. I've got no issue playing a golfer like Ben Griffin. He's not been as hot as he was last year, but still playing decent golf. I don't have an issue with Ben Griffin. Jason Day, great course fit for this tournament. I don't know. I can never get Jason Day right. At least he's playing golf this year and hasn't withdrawn from any of the events. Seems to have gotten his health in order. J Day is a valuable golfer. Let's put it this way. He's a veteran. He's one of the older golfers. He's my age. He's my age, and I'm calling him a veteran, an old guy. I don't feel like an old guy. But yeah, J Day at this event, maybe it could be kind of like a Adam Scott from the last time Adam Scott won an event. I forget what was that, 2016 or something like that. Had to go way back. This could be J Day's spot, to come to the Masters and play well. Cam Smith, I can't remember. Someone mentioned that, I think maybe it was Pat Mayo. He's going to talk to Matt Vincenzi, who's on the Live Tour, following the Live Tour. I think he's a journalist or something like that. Says that Cam Smith has secretly been turning his game around and has been playing better golf than what his results have indicated. At $7,500, he has played the Masters tournament well in the past. 75 is going to be just fine. Sungjae Im has turned it around. I mean, he kind of came back from an injury, a couple missed cuts, ended up finishing 4th at Valspar. I guess, the Houston Open wasn't a really good course fit for him. The fact he made the cut is probably as good as we can hope for that event. I think he's a good price for the Masters. He has finished, his best finish here is 2nd place. So he has good course history under his belt, or at least a good finish under his belt. He could probably, I think he can play well here. Bridgeman at $7,400. Hottest golfer, one of the hottest golfers on tour. I mentioned this with the higher price tags with Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick. I mentioned all of this with those golfers. Bridgeman is a good choice. He's a baller. I mean, he's a basketball player as well as a golfer. Perfect thing to call him as a baller. I actually do like Jacob Bridgeman this week. Sam Burns is a great choice. Sam Burns at $7,400 might be the most undervalued golfer. One of the most undervalued golfers on this Masters tournament board. So hey, for value, yeah, go play Sam Burns. Harris English, my buddy Byron would tell you the worst finish that he has had on tour this whole year is what, 28th place? 28th place at the WM Phoenix Open. Look at all these 20th place finishes. 27th at the American Express, 22nd at Farmers, 28th, 24th, 22nd, 24th. A missed cut. So outside the missed cut, he has, 20th place finishes. It's insane. Insane. If we can, is a 20th place finish at $7,300 good? Yes, if you're playing a cash lineup. If you follow me with the Pass Optimal and GPP winning lineups, I always talk about how you need to get 10th place finishes. Harris English has yet to do that. He is a veteran that has played the Masters several times before. I got no issue playing Harris English. Moving on down. Now we get to some kind of questionable golfers. Max Homa. It looks like he was playing the Valero Texas Open okay. I am not a fan of Max Homa for the mere fact that there is a confidence issue with Max Homa. When Max Homa is the most confident golfer in the world, he plays really good golf. He's probably I'll say this, he's probably the most emotional golfer we have on tour. When the confidence is high, he plays well. When it's low, he plays the absolute worst golf on tour. I'm just not feeling it for Max Homa. $7,300 though is a pretty good price tag. I just don't see a top 10 finish for him at the Masters. Not this year, at least. Marco Penge is kind of an interesting choice. I want to see what he does at the Valero Texas Open. I can't even remember if he was playing well that first day. I know I have him in a bunch of my lineups. And I think he was 4 under par at one point in time. So we'll see. We'll see what he does at Valero. This looked good for a T4, but where you anticipated him to play really well would have been here at the Houston Open. He bombs the ball. He's one of the longest golfers on tour, and for whatever reason, he did not play the Houston Open that well. Could be because it was the first time playing it, I guess. That could be it. But yeah, it seems like in wide open track, for him to bomb the golf ball and him not shooting that well, I don't know. Not great. I like Adam Scott this week. Everybody's going to like Adam Scott this week. I mean, really good finishes. His ball striking has been off the charts. I remember watching him at Sony, and I made the argument, and I've been making the argument since. The guy left every shot to 8 feet. He was hitting every iron shot to 8 feet, and he's been bombing the ball off the tee. He's reaching 186 miles per hour for ball speed. That's insane. That's insane, especially for a 46-year-old guy. Like, good for him. He's been playing some really good golf. This right here, T4, a lot of people do a comparison of the Riviera Country Club to the Masters or to Augusta. Having a 4th place finish at an event that he typically plays well at, that is a good signal for the Masters. 56th place finish at the Players, not super great, but I mean, that could just be because of the 75 that he shot in round 4. Don't know why. People, can burn out sometimes when it comes to round 4 scoring. But yeah, Adam Scott at the Players or at the Masters. Yep, he's a veteran. Veterans play well at the Masters. Veterans that have always played well at the Masters continue to play well at the Masters. This is no different for Adam Scott. Adam Scott will probably be the most owned 7K golfer. If you want to fade that just based off of ownership, you go right ahead. Everything that I said about Max Homa applies to JJ Spaun. When his confidence is sky high, he's one of the best golfers on tour. Well, in the field, I should say. He's one of the best golfers in the field. When it's low, it's bad. And I know he's been dealing with vertigo. He was playing the Valero Texas Open well. He shot a very good first round score. So we'll see how it all shakes out there, but I'm just going to stay away. I don't care. Mav McNealy is $9,000 at the Valero Texas Open. He is $7,200 here at the Masters. I'd have to look kind of back at some of his past performances just to double check to see if it's a good course fit. I feel like it should be, or at least for $7,200. It kind of reminds me of like the old Corey Connors, where Corey Connors would be really low priced heading into the event. I'll say this, actually, the way I can comp Corey Connors to Mav McNealy is the Valero Texas Open. usually happens, the results usually happen after DraftKings puts out their salaries. And so we usually get a low price on a golfer that plays well at Valero. If pricing came after the Valero, the finish of the Valero Texas Open, we would probably see Mav McNealy's price tag a little bit higher. He has, or I should say, his round score at the Valero Texas Open was good. So we'll see if he can shoot a good round or a good score in round 2, and we'll tell. But $7,200 seems very undervalued. So yeah, he's one of the better values on the board right now. Wyndham Clark, what a moody MFer. A moody mofo, if you want to call it that way. He has been playing awful golf. This right here, it was actually somewhat inspiring. This here, that 74, I think he was at one point in time 4 over par on round 1. And I think that's a par 72. I could be wrong. Maybe it was a par 71. But yeah, he was way out of it, and almost came back to make the cut. I think he needed a birdie his last 2 holes, and he missed his birdie putt on the second to last hole, and that kind of just derailed him. Like, he could have made the cut, and maybe he would have done something. But when you watch him play golf, it is awful. He is in a bad mood all the time. Don't know what's happening. That's a red flag for me to play him this week. And I also, it's not a very good course fit. He can hit draws. Don't get me wrong. He can hit draws, but he doesn't really control it that well. Ryan Fox had just recovered from kidney stones, apparently. I can't remember what. He withdrew from an event between the API. Oh, it was the Players. He withdrew from the Players Championship. So he went from API, withdrew from the Players because he had to have a procedure done to remove kidney stones from him, and then went on and played the Houston Open after the procedure happened, after the surgery or whatever it was. And yeah, missed the cut. Pretty lackluster, but maybe we can say that's decent, especially recovering from a procedure. Or maybe it's, like any procedure that you ever have doesn't just go away within a couple days. It kind of sticks with you for a little bit, at least mentally, psychologically. So, hey, he's played the Masters well before. $7,100 is a pretty good price tag. All right, now I'm really gonna go rapid fire. Sergio, don't really care. A veteran, if you want to go that veteran angle, sure, go for it. But I've got no tell on him at all. Noren seems like a good value, but it really just depends for me how well he plays at the Valero Texas Open. It looks like he was doing well before I jumped on here, but never know. Dustin Johnson, that'll probably be a pass from me. I know he cares about the Masters. He's a past Masters champion, but I think he is in his retirement years already. He's one of those guys that just enjoys fishing. He does. I know he loves golf, but I don't know. Sure, 7,000. You want to play a single bullet of him or whatever? No issue with that. Keegan Bradley should be a good course fit, but he's been playing some poor golf since the Ryder Cup finished. I don't know if I care about Keegan Bradley that much. Tom McKibben, live golfer. I've not really been paying attention to live. It does show he 16 of 16 cuts. Maybe that's a good value at $6,900. I'd have to look to see how many events he's played here in the past at the Masters and go from there. So maybe that will be more of a deep dive later on. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Rasmus Højgaard, I've been rostering him quite a bit over the last few weeks. His game is not as polished as Nico, his brother Nikolai Højgaard. So I don't know. We'll see. He has played well at the Masters in the past, but I just don't know if I care to go back to Rasmus. He's a young kid, though, by the way, 24 years old. It's crazy. Harry Hall seems like a pretty good value. I think I've already started putting together cheat sheets for everybody to use, and when it comes to his ranking, it's pretty good. Like the model that I created, the very first one I created, shows that Harry Hall is a good value at his price. So maybe that's worth throwing him into your lineups. I don't know. Kurt Kitayama, yeah, not a bad play at $6,800. Just remember, it's a 6K golfer. Don't fall in love with one, but don't disrespect one. And I'm not going to disrespect Kitayama. Gerard has had some injury concerns. He'd been playing some really good golf and then kind of has cooled off. worth, I don't know, at $6,800, sure. I don't mind doing some a couple bullets with Gerard. The same thing applies with Rye. Rye also, the reason he has an out next to his name was because of a back injury. So we will see how, pay attention to any news that you can, pay attention to any press conferences or anything like that revolve around any of these golfers that have been out in past weeks, just to see how they're feeling, what their game is like, anything like that. Niergaard Peterson, I believe he's a debutant. Debutants have played well here in the past. I mean, Will Zalatoris finished second in his first event. So did Sungjae Im. So it's like, yeah, maybe they can't win, but they can still play well enough to be in your DraftKings lineups. So, hey, no issues there. Same goes with Johnny Kiefer. Johnny Kiefer is one of the top guys with green and reg percentage. Green and reg just means you hit greens. You hit a lot of greens. It might not be that close to the hole. That's why he's not one of the top guys with strokes gained approach, but still, you're hitting greens as long as he's not being aggressive. And I mean, you kind of have to have some knowledge here when it comes to putting. But as long as he's not like super aggressive, he might be a decent play at 67. Nico, I'm pretty sure, has played this event before. I'm just not. He's a bit too aggressive for my liking. And when he's on, he's on. Don't get me wrong. When he's not, though, oof, what a liability. Michael Kim, I'm not a big believer in Michael Kim. He just had his interview with Pat Mayo, and it didn't sound like he was super confident in his game right now. So I don't know. Probably gonna fade that one. Michael Brennan hits the ball really far, but he's kind of cooled down. There's some events that he should have played really well at, including like this Houston Open. But these finishes just not great. Like, he doesn't have a very good refined golf game. It's still very raw. It's still dependent on distance. I would want it to be more refined for a tournament like the Masters, though. So I'm probably not getting behind that. I think this is Casey Jarvis. Yeah, I think this is well, never mind. I was gonna say I think this is a rookie, but he's been playing the DP World Tour. The DP World Tour, yeah. Yeah, I'm not getting there. South Africans have played this event well in the past, like unknown golfers. I go back to the guy with the broomstick. I forget what his name is off the top of my head. But he was down in the 6K range one point in time. Shoot, I was hoping to remember it by the time I was done speaking, but I can't remember it. But I honestly, I don't really have an issue with any of the South Africans playing here. So maybe he's worth a click or two. Maybe that's the difference between a GPP winning lineup, like the Millie Maker lineup, and not. I don't know. Carlos Ortiz rates really well in a lot of models. And that is because he has a top or a T4 at the US Open. And I think he also has another top finish at a major championship, which is not showing. But he had a good PGA championship at one point in time. But either way, a T4 at the US Open, that's good. That's going to add, good point totals for his major championships, or just his results over the last year. I did miss the cut at the Open, but, that can happen to anybody. So, yeah, Carlos Ortiz, probably one of the best values on here at $6,600. I want to believe in Max Grazerman. I don't remember if he's played this event before, but it looked like he was going to be playing such good golf, and then he just ends up missing the cut at the Players, misses the cut at the Houston Open. This 70, I want to say he was at like 6 under at some point in time, and then just fell back. That's kind of what he's been doing. Gosh, well, maybe it wasn't 6 under because he only has 3 birdies. Oof. Maybe he jumped to 3 under and then just like fell back real fast. Maybe that's what it was. But I thought he was at the top of the leaderboard at some point in time. But yeah, he's super volatile. Sammy Valimaki, I don't know if his lack of distance is going to be good. Like, his off the tee stats are awful. They're so terrible. But his short game's really good. And that can be very helpful here at the Masters. I just don't know. Probably not going there. Brian Harman, We'll see what he does at the Valero Texas Open. I think he just made the cut, to be honest. I remember seeing him roll in a birdie on a second to last hole to get to 2 under, and I think that's where the cut's going to be. So I don't know if he stayed at 2 under or if he, did something on the last hole that hurt his chances, or maybe it helped. Maybe he birdied the last hole. I don't know. I personally don't care for Brian Harman at the Masters. I think from memory, he hasn't really played the Masters that well because he's a lefty that draws the golf ball. If you were a lefty that faded the golf ball, that would be a better shot shape for the lefties. Nick Taylor, this seems pretty good. $6,500. Talk about all the top 20s that we saw from Harris English. You have the same thing with Nick Taylor, but we get a $600 difference. No, we get an $800 difference. So if you want a discounted version of Harris English, Nick Taylor's your guy. We anticipate Tiger Woods is going to be out because of the last accident he just had. So although it didn't injure him, it's pretty prevalent that he's probably addicted to pain pills to some extent. And I don't know if he will be playing the Masters. We'll see, but I don't think he's worth the play. Like the guy, he can't walk. And that course is one of the hardest walks that any PGA Tour or just any golfer will have throughout the year. So probably not. Andrew Novak, he's playing well at the Valero Texas Open, and he is a wild card. The guy can hit. It's just like if you want a very discounted version of Viktor Hovland, Andrew Novak's your guy. I think he's a very discounted version of Andrew Novak. You know how like items will go to the sale rack and then they'll go to the clearance rack? Where the sales rack will be like 30 to 40% off, and then you go to the clearance rack and the clearance rack is like at an additional 30%. That's Andrew Novak when it comes to Viktor Hovland. So I think if you want to live in that risk, go for it. If you wanted to pair up Hovland and Novak, good God, I can't imagine what your anxiety levels are going to be throughout the entire event, but it might be worth it. It might be worth it. Sam Stevens hits his long irons really well. He plays long golf courses really well. Finished 5th at the Houston Open. It seems like he'd be a good fit for the Masters. So at $6,400, if you needed some salary relief, there you go. If you needed a Scottie lineup that you can, maybe grab an 8K golfer to go with a bunch of other 7Ks, this $6,400 golfer might be able to do it. Actually, let's see if we can do that. So 64, let's put him in a lineup with Scottie. We get $7,400 left, so it's probably not going to work. Like I said, we could put like any of these cheap guys in here. I'm going to put Fitzpatrick in. Yeah, so we got to grab another 6K golfer, which isn't a bad thing. If we go over past optimal and GPP lineups, when it comes to building lineups with Scottie Scheffler, having 2 6Ks is just fine. But yeah, which 6K would we want to add? I mean, I did talk about Carlos Ortiz being a good value. Nick Taylor, I had said, hey, this is Harris English, just a discounted Harris English. Now we can get up to $7,200, and I do like Adam Scott. I'll be playing Adam Scott, sure. And then our 7K golfers, who did we make a case for? I guess we could do another $7,200 golfer, I guess. Yeah, because I'm not really feeling anybody else. So yeah, Maverick McNealy. So we could do a lineup like this. I'm sure, I mean, this isn't like the greatest lineup to build, but I'm sure when we go over past optimal and GPP lineups, we're going to find a way to make something like this work out. And we're going to find that it's been successful in the past. I'm pretty sure we're going to. But yeah, that was Sam Stevens we're talking about. Adding him to a Scottie Scheffler lineup that allows us to spend up, for at least one other golfer and still make a somewhat decent lineup. Yeah, Sam Stevens is fine. Phil Mickelson, hey, magic can happen anywhere. The guy's still long enough. I mean, we've seen Bernard Langer, compete at the Masters all the way into his 60s. I mean, he's made cuts. He's finished inside the top 10 or top 20, I should say. I'm talking about Bernard Langer. Why can't Phil? Why can't Phil? Phil still hits the ball pretty far, and he knows this golf course really well. I imagine he's going to play it he's going to be playing it smart. He has to. He doesn't really have the power he once did. And it's just every single year that goes by, it's going to go away little bit by little bit. So yeah, Phil, just as someone who has really good course knowledge, yeah, $6,400, why not? Probably staying away from Davis Riley. Has not really had super good finishes, and I don't even know why I'm drilling down into these names. Yeah, Davis Riley, no thanks. Christopher Wrighton, maybe. I think it's his debut appearance here. The guy hits it pretty far, can score well. I don't have an issue. Hao Tong Lee, he's played this event before in the past. So take a look to see what his finishes have been at the Masters. He's coming in pretty cold. And he is playing the Valero Texas Open, so we'll see what he does there. If it's 4 cuts in a row, I'll be staying away from Hao Tong Lee. Charles Schwartzel, past Masters champion. I think he's currently still on the LIV Tour. Sure. You want to take a flyer on a golfer? Go for it. Same goes with Bubba Watson. You want to take a flyer on it? Go for it. Zach Johnson has been having good finishes on the Champions Tour. That's right. He's over the age of 50. He's been playing the Champions Tour. Sure, why not? You know, if we want to talk about South African players, Aldrich Potgieter hits the ball super far. The only issue that I would have with Aldrich is he just doesn't have the creativity of short game that is probably required for this event. So he's very young. I think he's only 21, maybe 22. He's got a lot of years to go to get some Masters, experience under his belt to play this event better. I'm staying away from that. And then let's see, are there any other golfers to talk about from here on down? No, I don't think so. Danny Willett, I want to believe in Danny Willett, but I know he was just coming back from a back injury before the beginning of this year. I know he was on major medical for a while, so I don't know. I mean, he did finish 56th at the Houston Open. That's pretty good. Nothing else looks really good, to be honest with you. So I don't know about Danny Willett. Probably not, even though he's really cheap. The rest of these golfers, yeah, that's it. That's it. We don't have to talk about anybody else. That low 6K range, just probably ignore that. So there you have it. That is my breakdown of the DraftKings salary board. I've got more videos coming out this week, so be on the lookout for them. Again, just a reminder, just to show you guys one last time, I do have a Masters giveaway, a Win the Pot giveaway. You got to be I have to have a new subscriber, sign up. I will add $2 to the pot. Again, we already have 18 new subscribers since I started this giveaway. So I've added $36 to the pot. It's currently at $56. So if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's not required, but if we want to grow this pot a little bit more, we just need more subscribers. And if you want an entry into this giveaway, comment down below. Of course, you got to be subscribed, but comment down below. The topic for this tournament is, who is your favorite golfer at the price point that they're at? And outside of that, that's all that I have for you guys. So we're going to leave the video right here. More Masters content to come later. Thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.